Hey guys and gals, I got another one for you today. Today is going to be all about the snake bite and the pure speed. If you like active scouting, I think the best in the game is probably the T-Light at tier 10 Soviet scout tank, light tank, whatever you want to call it. And to me, my personal is dropping down into tier 6 in the snake bite. Just the pure speed of this thing is fun. It makes for great games. It also makes for quick games sometimes, because in this thing I feel like if you hit a bump wrong, you're flying. I think I have a highlight where I jumped off a hill and I hit a tree, probably like 3/4 up the tree from flying across the hill, and it tipped my tank sideways and I blew up on the ground. But yeah, this thing can launch itself, this thing can fly, and not just speed wise, you can get this thing airborne. But that's besides the point. This thing is a monster when it comes to active scouting. Its speed allows you to make people miss shots, and you can distract them all game long. Now, if you get tracked in this thing, it can be devastating. So I run 2 repair kits here and 1 med kit just in case I lose my driver. Honestly, my gunner can go, my loader can die, my radio man can die, but my commander and my driver definitely get priority med pack. So talking about things that can fly, I'm already in G9 and their team hasn't even progressed down the 0 line. So I'm gonna make a reverse here. That way if they do have a lot of tanks, I can get out of here pretty quickly. And I spot an E2, he's pretty close to me, and I just decide rather than go back down and risk it. And I'm actually training a crew right now, so I don't have my best British crew in here or anything. They don't have 6th Sense, which I highly recommend in a scout tank, but that's besides the point. I don't want to get into that stuff. Alright, as we come up, we spot a few guys in the field. Normally, to me, if they're not on the 9-0, they're going to be out in the field. And we're on Dukla in an 8 match. You can see here. And those of you that didn't play before there was tier 10 scout tanks, never got to play in scout tanks that played 2 tiers down, or excuse me, 3 tiers down. So in scout tanks, you could used to play up to 3 tiers. Scouts stopped at tier 8, but if you were in a tier 7, you could see tier 10 tanks. Then the tier 10 tanks came in, tier 10 lights, excuse me, and that all changed. Then they went to regular matchmaking. And some of them got nerfed, like the Bulldog is definitely one of them. And the RU-251 got pushed up to tier 9, and essentially, for some reason, it just doesn't play as good at tier 9 as it did at tier 8. I fell in love with that thing at tier 8, and now it's a tier 9. I ended up selling it because it's just underwhelming, and that's with an amazing crew in it. Alright, so I can tell that something is spotting my team, and I have to figure out what it is. So I make a push, and sure enough, that Hawk is playing in one of the... Well, actually, he's a little bit behind my bush. I normally like to be up in, like, D6. He's a little bit farther back, and it's a little bit safer to play back there. Not everybody can play aggressive bushes like I can. I'm just kidding. But I do like to play aggressive bushes. Alright, so my mindset right now is just stay alive. Endgame for scouts is amazing if you can stay alive and preserve some of your hit points. Now, it's a balance because you still have to provide intel for your team, but you need to keep your hit points for the endgame. If you're on low hit points, you can still provide vision for the game, which is important on a big map like this. However, you're not really going to be able to effectively trade, and I'll show you that later when I fight a Centurion. So I get back into this position, and I totally fell asleep, not realizing that there's a Persian and ISU 152 here, and are they going to cut my game short? Well, no, the Persian missed. I don't think he aimed his shot. I think he expected me to just take off, so he ended up shooting below my tank. And then the ISU never even got crested over the hill or didn't want to crest the hill. So I safely made it out of there. I feel like I got lucky. Not to mention all the lucky times that I missed getting shot in the field. But like the T-Light, this is a very low profile tank, and a low profile tank that flies around, auto lock is just not going to get it done unless you're maybe driving straight away or towards someone. So I'm going to make another run at this Hawk. I feel like I have to lull him to sleep, make him feel comfortable, and then light him up. And that's going to put him in bad situations. Now, we do have a 3-tank advantage, and I see that they have a Jagdpanzer 4 pushed up quite a ways. And honestly, if the thing's covering this Jagdpanzer pulls out to shoot me, I'm actually going to help my team by making them pull out. And I put APCRs in here, making sure that I pen my shots. My first 2 pens of the game. You can see I have 12 spotted target hits. So just like a snake does, just make a little weaving motion. That's gonna be successful for you in this tank. Alright, so my team crunches the cruncher. And I'm just making my way through these rocks. This map is really nice in Scouts because it just has enough like hard cover for you to work around the map. Now we have a 4-tank advantage, and this Centurion. All right, I've saved my hit points, or at least I got lucky to save my hit points. And this Centurion was staring at me, and now I'm just making sure that he's looking away from me before I start to make my attempt on him. And like a leopard or a tiger would in the wild, I'm waiting to pounce. And maybe this thing's too small to be a leopard or a tiger, so maybe a snake. Just waiting for my victim. And if he chooses to fight me, that's great. My team's gonna obliterate him, so thank you, buddy. Pay attention to the snake bite, turn your head around, allow my team to advance, and now you can see we are destroying them. So I get my 6th spot of the game. It's a Scorpion. I'm going to load HE here because this thing is made of glass. The Americans took some design blueprints from the French and decided to make a tank made out of glass. And they called it a Scorpion. The Scorpion can't rotate his turret fully. So you see how awkward this is for him. And he falls because of his excellent driving skills. I give him a little nudge, throw him away. And therein ends the match. You can pick up one of these tanks in War Stories when you complete it. I can't remember the title. It's the one that you play a Cromwell in. I'll say that much. If you haven't gone through, at least started each War Stories, I highly recommend that because you can get a free driver to put into that nation. With a skill on it already. So if you're looking for crews, War Stories, take advantage of that. You don't even have to do the full playthrough, but if you do the full playthrough, you can get tank offers for like 50% off, and they're pretty sweet deals. So Captured KV1 is where I got mine for War Stories, and then I also got my Snakebite for War Stories as well. Alright, let's get to endgame stats. So we throw it out an ace tanker, and I only do 1,000 damage, but in a tier 6 tank, I assisted for 5,300. Now that is solid in a tier 10, but I'm 4 tiers down. And not to mention, this is a tier 8 game, so essentially my tier 8s, they didn't go to the choke necessarily. Some of them did, but a lot of them went up the 1, 2, 3 line, and then to me in Duck La Pass, that means you're going to be sniping all game. So I'm going to take full advantage of that and get them targets to shoot at. I could have just left them up in the rocks and wait for them to have to fight 2 different flanks, but I'm just going to help them as I get through the field, keep the red team spotted, and obviously destroyed since no one on the red team could get 1,400 damage. It's always a win in my book. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.